November 10th, 2025. The world of astronomy stands still tonight. A cold silence fills the air inside observatories across the globe, from the high plateaus of Chile to the quiet mountain domes of Spain. Scientists stare at their screens, whispering to each other, almost disbelieving what the latest images have revealed. The mysterious Manhattan-sized interstellar comet, 3I Atlas, appears to have no tail. None at all. For months, researchers had expected a dazzling plume of dust and vapor as this cosmic visitor neared the warmth of the sun. Yet, what the Naves Observatory in Spain captured on November 5th was something entirely unexpected. An object cutting through the void like a shadow. Silent, intact, and eerily clean. No trace of the cometary tail that physics demands. No glowing stream of debris fleeing from sunlight. Just a sharp, compact source of light drifting through the solar system, defying everything scientists thought they knew about comets. The discovery ignited immediate debate across the scientific community. Messages and data files began bouncing between NASA, ESA, and countless independent observatories. How could a comet traveling this close to the sun, under immense radiation and solar wind pressure, show no signs of a tail? Was it possible that this was not a natural comet at all? At the center of the discussion stood a familiar name, Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb. Known for his controversial stance on the first interstellar object, Oumuamua, Loeb once again found himself facing both skepticism and fascination. To him, the absence of a tail wasn't just curious, it was a potential clue, a signal. Perhaps, he suggested, 3I Atlas wasn't merely a chunk of ice and rock wandering through space, but something crafted, something controlled. As the comet continued its steady journey through the inner solar system, its path appeared unusually precise. Loeb noted that its trajectory lay within just 5 degrees of the ecliptic plane, the invisible disk in which the planets orbit the sun. Statistically, the chance of such alignment occurring randomly was 1 in 500. A strange coincidence, perhaps, but one that raised questions about intent and design. Even more unsettling was its size. Loeb estimated that 3I Atlas was up to 2 city blocks across, 1 million times more massive than Oumuamua. For an interstellar traveler, that's enormous. The chances of such a massive object arriving here, in our tiny corner of space, within just a few years of discovering our first interstellar visitor, astronomically small, so small that it almost begged to be noticed. But the mysteries didn't stop there. In July and August, telescopes had captured a faint glow extending not away from the sun, but towards it. That defied every principle of how natural comets behave. Normally, the solar wind pushes dust and gas outward, forming a tail that points away from the sun. Yet here, 3 Atlas seemed to defy radiation pressure itself. The light stretched sunward, as if pulled by an invisible hand or propelled by something within. On social media and science panels, Loeb's remarks once again stirred controversy. Some laughed, others listened carefully. Even if the probability is small, Loeb said during an interview, we must consider that 3I Atlas could be a form of alien technology, a probe, a vessel, a scout of sorts, out of. NASA, for its part, dismissed the claims immediately. The agency's scientists insisted that natural explanations should always come first. Yet privately, some researchers couldn't help but wonder. The data didn't lie, and what it showed didn't fit any existing model of a comet. Meanwhile, the comet was drawing closer. Astronomers predicted that in December it would pass within 167 million miles of Earth, close enough to be studied in extraordinary detail, yet far enough to remain beyond any conceivable threat. Loeb warned, however, that dismissing such anomalies could be dangerous. It's what the Vatican did with Galileo, he remarked wryly. We must stay curious. We must wonder. Then came the new images. Captured on November 9th, 2025 by astronomers Frank Niebling and Michael Buchner, they showed something even more perplexing. Using twin telescopes, they stacked multiple exposures to reveal fine details of the comet's structure. What they saw wasn't a typical tail, it was something stranger. 2 faint anti-tail jets extended toward the sun, reaching nearly 1,000,000 kilometers in length. And from the opposite side, a longer, more focused jet streamed away, an enormous column stretching nearly 3,000,000 kilometers into the dark. Together, they formed a symmetrical dual-jet structure, unlike any cometary pattern ever recorded. At the current distance of 3I Atlas, some 326 million kilometers from Earth, those jets represented truly colossal scales. Yet they didn't behave like normal gas emissions. If this were a natural comet, the outflow speed of its gases should be about 0.4 kilometers per second. But to sustain jets that large and dense, the energy involved had to be orders of magnitude greater. It was as if something inside 3I Atlas was pushing against the solar wind, maintaining shape and velocity against forces that should have dispersed it long ago. Loeb ran the numbers himself. The ram pressure of the solar wind at that distance was immense, but the jets of 3I Atlas held their structure far beyond what was physically reasonable. For that to happen, the outermost layers of those jets would need to have a mass density 1,000,000 times greater than the solar wind itself. The comet was ejecting an estimated 50 billion tons of material per month, comparable to its own entire mass. That didn't make sense for a fragile, icy body. Something was off. The data suggested that 3I Atlas was at least 5 kilometers in diameter, possibly closer to 10. A massive, compact object traveling on a retrograde path, perfectly aligned with the solar system's plane. Statistically, the odds of this being a random interstellar rock were less than 1 in 100 million. A number so small it practically begged to be questioned. Could it be a coincidence? Maybe. But Loeb proposed another possibility. What if the jets weren't natural at all? What if they were thrusters, controlled emissions rather than chaotic outgassing? With human-made technologies, he argued, such a mass ejection could be reduced drastically. Chemical rockets, ion drives, or something beyond our understanding could easily explain the precision and power observed. To many, that sounded outrageous. But Loeb wasn't asking people to believe. He was asking them to look, to question. The universe is old, he said, billions of years old. If we're here now exploring other worlds, imagine what civilizations older than ours could achieve. They might have built things we can barely imagine. 3I Atlas could be one of them. As his words spread through interviews and podcasts, even popular media began to take notice. When reality star Kim Kardashian jokingly asked for the T on 3I Atlas, NASA's acting administrator Sean Duffy playfully replied. Loeb, however, wasn't amused. He saw it as a sign of misplaced priorities, entertainment over curiosity. When Congress asks questions about interstellar objects, he said, they deserve answers. This isn't a meme. This is history. By late November, telescopes around the world continued to track 3I Atlas as it approached its closest distance to Earth. The object remained stable, unchanging, and still without a visible tail. For something subjected to the full heat of the sun, that was nearly impossible. Dust particles should have been escaping in all directions. Yet the images stayed consistent. A bright, compact body, untouched and deliberate. Meanwhile, astronomers using the Hubble and Webb space telescopes began preparing for deeper studies. 3I Atlas's enormous jet structure had become a perfect target for their instruments. It would reach its closest approach on December 19th, and researchers hoped that high-resolution imagery could finally settle the debate. Was it truly natural, or something else entirely? But even if the observations revealed a natural explanation, one thing was already clear. 3 Atlas had changed how scientists thought about interstellar visitors. First came Oumuamua, flat, fast, and tailless. Then came Borisov, a classic comet with gas and dust streaming behind it. And now 3I Atlas, large, metallic, and defiant of every known pattern. 3 visitors from the stars, each one different, each one rewriting what we think we know. Loeb called it cosmic archaeology, the study of what other civilizations might leave behind in the fabric of space. Every interstellar object is a messenger, he said. It carries a story from beyond the stars. Whether that story is natural or artificial, we owe it to ourselves to listen. If 3I Atlas is just another rock, it will soon fade from memory. But if it isn't, if it's something more, then the moment we're living through right now will be remembered as the time humanity looked into the night sky and realized we were not alone. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain. The universe still holds secrets we've barely begun to uncover. And 3i Atlas, tail or not, has reminded us that curiosity, the courage to ask questions, is what keeps us reaching for the stars. And so the watch continues.